I'd be telling them to lobby for more leftists. Wisdom resides both sides of the Senate. Become a student member of the Academic Senate. Get a work-study job in the President's office. You'll get access to people. Get colleges where it hurts. Don't donate to dear old Cal when they call and ask you to donate. And they will be hitting you up. If they haven't already, they are going to hit you up for the rest of your life. They have this wonderful, there's something called Razor's Edge. They've got every student and every alumni in the database. They keep track of exactly how much you've donated, what events you go to, what are your hot buttons, everything. They invite you to certain events that are tailored to you. Their goal eventually is, they want you to put Cal in there, you will. That's their holy grail. That's why they call it development, not fundraising. They want to develop you. They start by being a friend raiser. They try to make you feel warm and fuzzy. After you graduate, they'll invite you to an event where the very best professors at Berkeley give a lecture to remind you how great the professors are, but you have long forgotten about the bad ones. If you're interested in sports, they give you free tickets in the end zone to a Cal game. If you're, anyway, you get the point. Don't donate. It's the world's worst charity. World's worst. Because, for a variety of reasons. If you donate, not only is it an overpriced entity, if you donate, it's all they can, that means they need less money, they get less money from the state. So you're actually subsidizing the state government. Do you really want to do that? I don't think not in this group, sir. And also, if the money goes to scholarships, what happens is, if the money comes from you, there's plenty of scholarship money the college has or the government has. You're again subsidizing the government. Because what happens is, they give a scholarship to a kid, and then they say, oh good, now we don't need to give the government's money because you donated the money. So you're actually making a donation to the government when you give them money for scholarship. World's worst charity. That's a great way to, and when they ask you for the money, say, I'm not giving it to you because you're totally not transparent, you're totally not caring about students. Money is what they care about. You ever been to the development office at Berkeley? It's the plushest office on campus. They have multi-million-dollar, but the most sophisticated operation to raise money. They're all about, this is a business. All universities are a business. And you are a cost center, not a profit center. Research is a profit center because they charge 55% overhead every time they get a grant from the government. It's a profit center. You're a cost center and you have no prestige to that. Research is profit and prestige. That's why. And the more prestigious the university, the more they're likely to get research. They're more likely to get research grants unless they care about you. Other activism. I'm a contributing editor at U.S. News, and I actually spoke to the guy who's in charge of Bob Morris, who's the head of the college rankings, and I said, why the hell, in choosing how you do your ranking, why don't you try to get a measure of value added? How much do students grow from being in this place? And he said, it's too complicated, it's too hard. But what a great act of activism to go and write letters to the editor of U.S. News or other publications ridiculing U.S. News for not doing that, or bombarding Bob Morris at U.S. News to do that. Here's my favorite idea. I would love to see you guys picket the development office at Berkeley, demanding a college report card, transparency, consumer information, and not just taking 4 to 6 years of people's time and their money without any disclosure. Invite the media. That will get the college's attention. That single act could do more to improve the quality of education at Cal than anything, period. And now, finally, and then we'll take questions. Careers. I know, of course, appropriately in this time of really high underemployment. It's BS that the unemployment is 9%. That implies that 91% of people are well employed. In addition to 9%, there are another 9% who are grossly underemployed. In other words, they're working little part-time jobs or whatever when they really want to be working full-time. There's another 10 or 12% who are discouraged workers who have simply given up and therefore not counted. They haven't shown up at the unemployment office. And then there are the tremendous numbers of people who are underemployed in a different way. Not just that they're working part-time, but they're working in some menial job that they could have gotten as a high school dropout when they got a degree from Berkeley. The true underemployment rate is almost half. So I imagine many of you are scared about what the hell you're going to do after you graduate, especially in any major. Because I know I have Ph.D.s in molecular biology, you can't find a job. In fact, a RAND study found that there's a 30% oversupply of molecular biology Ph.D.s, which you think would be the most marketable degree on the planet. Here are some career ideas that specifically relate to trying to reinvent and improve higher ed. There actually are jobs, while journalism jobs have shrunk tremendously. Like in every other field, we're in an era of specialization. And so, becoming a specialist in higher education journalism, there are people, there's a guy named Justin Pope, who for the Associated Press, all he covers is higher ed. He's an expert. In fact, there's a whole organization called the Education Writers Association, with hundreds of journalists who specialize only in education. It's a very cool, under-the-radar career. A lot of people aspire to journalism. Boy, the journalism school is the most leftist one here in the world. I can't believe this place. But in any case, if you aspire to journalism, find an niche like that. Nobody thinks about being a higher education journalist. Great way to improve education and find a nice niche for yourself if you're a writing-centric person. There are a number of organizations that could hold colleges more accountable. You could work for the U.S. Office of Education. You could work for WASC. You've never heard of WASC. WASC is the accreditation agency for the Western states. They hire a bunch of people. Work for WASC. Work for Consumer Reports. I once did a one-time feature for them on empowering students to make smarter choices in colleges. But they should be doing college ratings on a routine basis with really good information. Ratings based not just on student satisfaction, but on how much value added, how well employed the graduates are compared to peer institutions. Sure, you're going to be better, more of you are going to be employed than somebody who went to Cal State East Bay. But compared to UCLA, are there better employment rates for you guys than them? Consumer Reports should be doing that kind of evaluations. Work for them. Propose it to them. Get a job created for you that way. That's how you get cool jobs, proposing things to organizations, not just passively answering ads. If you want to be self-employed, create a true consumer advocate website for colleges. Aggregate data on real good student reviews of colleges, as well as data on student growth. There is a lot of data available if you dig. What a great gift you give to the world. Provide the ultimate consumer advocacy website on helping people choose colleges. And finally, this is my dream. I think maybe if I were starting out now, I might do this. I would start Utopia U. A small college which did everything right, that really did put students first, along the lines I've described here, so I won't reiterate. Think big, guys. You're young, you're smart. Starting a college would be one of the coolest things in the world you could do. So just meditate on that. It doesn't have to be the way Marty Nemko exactly said it. Think about what would really be a student's first university. I've written about it, so you can Google Utopia U and you'll see that some of the stuff I mentioned, there's a lot more that I didn't. Just a thought. And finally, before I take questions, I'm eager to do. Yeah, no, that's what I think I am. I want to take questions first, and then I'm going to end with a story. So, questions? Yes?
So you mentioned how MBA programs on cash cow and stuff. But I mean, it seems like a lot of corporations think it's worth it because, like, they'll pay for people to get their MBA and stuff. I mean, then is it logical to keep those programs around since companies are kind of paying for it?
It's logical for the company to do it, and if in fact you are already a middle manager in a company and they're paying for you to do it part-time or on the job, then the equation changes. But for the typical student who is not doing that well in the work world, and saying, geez, I'm going to ride out the recession and I'm going to go get an MBA and I'll pay the $100 grand out of my own pocket, that ends up usually not being worth it. But is it worth it for the university? Absolutely. Because corporations, and again, it's the kind of thing that corporations, remember, if you were, let's say you were Accenture, or KPMG, one of the big consulting firms, it serves you, even if that MBA taught the students, your employees, nothing, when you go to a potential customer, let's say some restaurant chain that wants to hire McKinsey or Bain or whatever, and you can show that all your people have MBAs, it's prestigious, even if it doesn't really mean substance. So you don't really mind, as the corporation, paying some money to have your really good employees get this MBA because they're spending the time on their own time usually. And very often they don't pay the whole thing anyway, it's split. And it's a real value to the corporation. It's a good deal for the corporation. It's a great deal for Berkeley. It's the student who's paying out of their own pocket for whom it's not a good deal usually. Next question. Yes. There first and you're second.
Okay. I was wondering what your perspective on graduate education is, because there's perhaps more of a coincidence of interests there. The students are being taught to research and the lecturers are interested in research.
If your goal is to be a researcher, then a Ph.D. program, especially at a research-oriented university, would be perfect. But even there, it is critical that you do the same kind of consumer, being a good consumer as I talked about. When I was a student here at Berkeley, there were professors, I was assigned at random to an advisor named Bill Rower. Bill Rower's research area was paired associate learning in second grades, whatever. And I was a passive little scared little kid from New York, and so I just took it. He didn't give a damn about me. He didn't give a damn about anything other than his stupid little research.